record button. Okay, cool. Hey, everybody. Well, I'm excited. I don't ever get a turnout like this, so I'm super excited about this. Welcome to well, I should introduce myself. My name's Kari Alt. I am director of Alt's Waxy Warriors. And you guys are cordially invited to our weekly Vibe and Thrive, which is where we meet each week and kind of talk about topics that have been on our minds for the last week prior. We share ideas and we do all sorts of things to kind of like collaborate together, and then we do some trainings and such. And ever since SFR ended, I've been trying to touch on everything that we learned at SFR. So today we're going over Focus on the Five, which is basically 5 things that will help you build your teams. And they kind of cover like a broad spectrum of different things like communication and systems, stuff like that. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet. And then if you guys have questions or anything, I'll open up the end for you guys to kind of like chit chat or ask questions or whatnot. So let's get started. So in the chat, I did post a link for anyone that came in after. There is a link to our team Google Drive that has our Focus on the Five. It's like a little note-taking sheet. Oh, Shelly, I see what you're saying. This does look big on here. You might, if you guys print it out, you might have to adjust your printer setting because I made it on Canva. And now I'm thinking I made it too big on accident. But it has the 5 topics on here. And I kind of went off of what we did at SFR and kind of going to put my own little twist to it on things that I've learned in the last couple of years, almost 3 years with being with Sensi. Let's see. Oh, let me introduce. So Jess, Lee, and Tara are my girls. And then Kari's our fearless superstar director. And then I think the rest of you, are you guys all under Shelly?
It looks like I have Maddie. Oh, did that echo?
You might have to mute everybody and let everybody unmute themselves.
I'm manually muting. Okay, we should be good now. You should be good.
Okay, so from Team Blooming Sense, and hey everybody, my name is Shelly Evans Ostrom. I am director of Team Blooming Sense, and it looks like I have Maddie, Jamie, Jameson, and Joy. Did I miss anybody else from my team?
I don't think so.
Y'all can comment if I did. I love you guys. Thanks for joining. I'm excited to be a part of this with Kari. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, thanks for coming. I never get a turnout like this, so I'm really excited. I'm getting a little nervous, a little stage fright going on. But I am super, super stoked to have you guys here and share the knowledge that I got from SFR, and Jess came with me. So Jess, you can chime in too. She's our star consultant and she's got her book too. So she can chime in with stuff that we learned because we went to the same classes. But I took lots of notes to share with you guys. So let's get to it. So let's focus on the first topic. In my notes, I called it creating a welcoming environment. In the book, it's called creating welcome packets. Now, welcome packets are something that I started to do right from the get-go. I joined in 2019. And I think I got my first 2 team members, I think in the same day in March. And from that moment on, I decided that I was going to, anyone that I personally sponsored, I was going to send what's called, that's the other thing. I'll get to that. I sent them like a welcome gift. So I sent them like a Scentsy lanyard. I sent them some tools to help them get started. I think I sent a catalog. I can't remember what all I sent. But it was a pretty hefty size mailer. You don't have to go that big. I don't recommend going that big because it adds up with postage and stuff. However, I do encourage you guys to figure out a way to create a welcoming environment. And it doesn't have to be welcome packets and it like physical ones. It could be digital ones. Canva, holy savior, I'm telling you, Canva, once you learn and master Canva, you can literally create anything you can think of on there. They have so many different templates for things. So you could make a welcome packet for your team on Canva and email it out as soon as you get a new team that joins your, a new teammate joining your team. With the welcome packets, they broke it down. Jess, do you remember who taught it? I can't remember who taught it, but
I think it was Vicky. I just watched a YouTube video from her too, and I didn't write it down, which I should have.
Yeah, I
She's
can't think of her
awesome,
name,
though.
but yeah, she had a lot of good tips.
She
But
didn't follow
basically,
this book at like all either, so
yeah,
she did her own thing.
she really did, and I'm gonna try to stick to the book as much as I can because I did take a lot of notes and I want to hone in on the specific stuff. So when it comes to creating welcome packets, it's bridging the gap between yourself and your new teammate because we've been in such a world of just digital. Everything's been digital because we've been at home. You know, we had quarantine and then everyone just kind of, you know, still stayed home for a while after they started to like the world started to open back up. I personally still haven't done any home parties yet. SFR is my first big event that I physically went to probably since before COVID because I had my son right before COVID started. And so I was on maternity leave and then I was just home. So bridging that gap to everybody on my team was super important to me and super crucial because I wanted them to know that I was still there even if we weren't together. And at the time I was living in Michigan. I'm in Ohio now, but at the time in Michigan, a lot of my teammates were in Ohio and a lot of the people I was sponsoring were in Ohio. So I wanted to somehow connect with them in any way that I could. So I'm a go big or go home kind of girl. So I started off with those big welcome packets where it had little gifts, catalog, you know, like if I found coupons for Vistaprint or something like that, I would pop them in there and send them out and say, hey, if you want, you know, this is a discount for you to get business card made, stuff like that. Anything that I could find that was helpful to them and that would be helpful for them while they waited for their kit, I sent it out. Even if it was pamphlets of like laundry or clean and stuff, I made sure that this packet was going to be their lifeline until they got their footing down and they got their kits. You don't have to go big like that. And I don't recommend that because that was not super sustainable for me because our team blew up in 2020 very quickly and it was the coolest thing ever. But that stuff adds up. So what I like to say to myself is keep it super simple, KISS. So when it comes to creating welcome packets or finding something to bridge the gap between yourself and your new teammate, no matter how far they are, because you could sponsor people in other countries. Keep it super simple. Keep KISS in the back of your mind because it'll be easier for you to build systems. It'll be easier for you to be consistent and it'll help you build those relationships up with your new teammates, even if they're like second, third, or fourth down. You'll be able to have that connection and make yourself available to them in a little bit more of a personal way than them just getting your contact information from when they join, you know. Why? Let me see. Now, when it comes to doing like welcoming your team and creating a welcoming environment, there's some different systems that you guys can try to help connect your teams. Some people were talking at SFR about Project Broadcast. I know Kari is going to be doing. Did you do your training yet for Project Broadcast? I can't remember. Oh, hold on. Let me unmute you. Shoot.
Hi.
Hey.
Yeah, there was a quick little training today. It was like 20 minutes, and it's available. There's a Facebook group for Sensi consultants, and I can post the link or give it to you after. But yeah, it's just real simple, and I think she recorded it, so you can watch the replay. I've never used Project Broadcast before, but I mean, I've heard great things, and I mean, I think it's worth a try just to make things easier to get in touch with all your customers at once. You can create like a template, let your customers know, like for LTOs and stuff like that, instead of trying to like figure out who you've contacted. Once everyone's uploaded into your contact list, then you know that they received it. So
Cool.
it's definitely helpful.
Awesome. Yes. So that could be something that you guys could really hone in on to, like Kari said, to keep up with your customers, but also to stay in touch with your teams, because the goal is to build your teams far and deep, right? And Project Broadcast could be a great option for you to send mass messages out, because some people don't like being in Facebook chats. Some people don't like being on Facebook at all. It's hard to get everyone connected, but that could be a good option for you to, because we have to, no matter what anybody is doing on your team that signs up, whether they're a kidnapper, just doing it for the discount, or building a business, you are required as a sponsor to at least reach out to them once a month, maybe twice a month, but I think it's for sure once a month. That's a great way to knock it out, and they'll get a personalized message from you via text. So that is definitely something worth looking into. I haven't personally used it yet, but it sounds like with the whole Amy thing kind of falling apart, which is super bummed about, that could be a good way for follow-ups in general, because follow-ups, you won't go anywhere without following up, and anybody in Sensi is going to tell you that follow-ups are the most important thing ever with your teams and with your customers. Some other systems that you could do, I personally have gone back to writing stuff down. I have a binder, well, not really a binder, it's a really expensive planner. It was like an $80 planner. It's an Erin Condren planner. But I try to write down everyone's birthdays. I try to write down everybody's, let me think, if they have parties coming up. I like to kind of keep an eye on help everybody out and make sure I'm available if they have parties coming up, because of, whether they're new or seasoned consultants, I want to make sure that I'm there for them if they need me. So I try to touch base with everybody and find out when their parties are, and I jot it in my little planner just as a little reminder. Just to shoot them a message, say, hey, how's your party going? Do you need anything? Do you need me to come in and do a live or something and talk to them? Whatever they need, I want to be there. And that's what helps create an environment of strength and teamwork and a real true passion for Sensi, because we're not going to be anywhere without each other. Your teams are your foundation to your entire business. I know people are going to say it's your sales and PRV, but to me, my Sensi is my village. And I wrote it on my name tag at SFR. And I could demote back to superstar consultant. And yeah, it would hurt, but I would still feel like I'm at home and still feel like a true Sensi consultant, because I have my family and I have that environment, my Sensi family and everybody I've been meeting since SFR. And to me, that's most important. Some people are gonna, say otherwise. They say PRV, this and that, because yeah, that's important. But I'm a very personable person. So when it comes to creating those welcoming environments, I really, really, truly encourage you guys to try to reach out to every single person and making a consistent thing. I wrote Amy down a lot on this, but now that Amy's gone, it's kind of like we're falling back into what do we do next? So it's a good opportunity to find a system that could work for you while we got thrown into a new, and I don't know if everybody used Amy either. But for me, I was really relying on it. And whenever things change, you learn to pivot. And that creates a stronger environment within your teams as well, is learning how to pivot with each other. When it comes to creating a welcoming environment, you want to make sure that you're open. I don't want to say criticism, but you're open to coaching from your peers and not just you doing the coaching. And what I mean by that is I try my hardest, and I kind of probably took it too much to heart when we started exploding after we became a D group in 2020. I became like kind of like a people pleaser, and I kind of lost touch with what my main focus was. And we grew so quickly that I did feel like there was a disconnect between me and a lot of our other teammates, especially the people that joined and then never did anything. I found myself focusing on the people that were putting big numbers up, and that wasn't fair to everybody else. So learn from my mistake, do your best to try to keep an open line of communication with everybody. We used to do birthday posts in our group, and my other director that I had at the time, we would go back and forth and create birthday posts. So anytime a birthday would pop up, we had a really pretty graphic made in our group that said happy birthday, and we tag them, we take a, put their picture and decorate it really cute. That was a way that we wanted everyone to feel like you had a home with us and our team. So if you take anything when it comes to creating a welcoming environment, treat them like you're your family, even if you don't see eye to eye with some things, or maybe you got differences of opinions, or you don't hear from them much. If you treat them like their family, they're gonna hustle together like a family. So make sure your environment is as open and as warm and as positive. And I'm not saying toxic positive, because there's no need for that. There's always room for discussion on things. So don't push the toxic positivity, but create that environment that gives them a safe space to fall into if they need it, is ultimately what I'm getting at. Let's see. Okay, the next topic I have on here is building. I called it building upon those connections, but in the book it says build the conversation and practice. And ultimately, all it boils down to is having conversations with your new consultants, which goes hand in hand with creating a welcoming environment. I encourage you to reach out to your new teammate, and you're going to want to sit, pick a time with them, say, hey, I'm your director, Kari. I would love to have maybe a 15-minute phone conversation with you, FaceTime, or maybe even just a text or Facebook chat, just to get to know you a little bit, introduce myself, and, make myself, open for you if you need anything. And there's the who, what, where, when, why, how questions. So these questions would be, who are they? Who's your new teammate? Where are they from? What's their background like? What are their goals? Everyone's Sensi goals are going to be different. So you're going to have your kidnappers, you're going to have the people that just want want the discount, and then you're going to have your team building go-getters that are going to want to run with you. You want to make sure that you ask what their goals are, because you don't want to find yourself pushing the wrong people. If they're not here to build a team, don't push them to build a team. Just encourage them and be there for them, even if it's just for their own discount. Where do they plan to focus their efforts? Kind of going hand in hand with what are their goals. You want to make sure that they can break down what they want to focus on. Like, say for instance, they want to build a team. Great, that's their biggest goal right now, is to build a team right when they join. That is amazing. Build a plan with them. If you have somebody that's new to direct sales, that hasn't had any sales experience, we're showmen, not salesmen. So teach them how to show off their product and how to make it aesthetically pleasing to their audience, and how they can carry themselves to the audience, because it's all attraction marketing that we're doing. When do they want to work on their business? Everybody's got a bunch of different schedules. Everyone's got different priorities, different jobs, all that other stuff. Find out how much time they want to invest into their business each week. It could be, I have 1 hour out of the entire week to do something. That's fine. Teach them how to make that income producing habits in that 1 hour that they have each week. Is the most crucial thing, because if they start to see that they have something coming in, they're going to want to do it more, and they're going to want to build upon it. So make sure you're teaching them the income producing habits that they can do, even if it's 15 minutes a day or that 1 hour a week. The big question, why did they join Scentsy? For me, I was bored on maternity leave. I was a month and 5 days in when I joined. My sponsors are Matt and Tony. Matt, I went to high school with. So I've known Matt forever. And I had been buying from him for a while. And I've already been in the direct sales industry probably since 2015 in all the wrong markets, mostly makeup. I don't wear makeup that often. I don't know how I thought I could sell it. Did not work out for me. I watched Matt and Tony and saw how they were rocking it as two men in a home decor industry. This is a female dominated industry, to be honest with you. And they were killing it. And I was like, if they can do it, and I don't want this to sound bad. I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. And I know that they have the tools that can help me get to where I want to be. Even though at the time, I didn't know where I wanted to be. But honing in on why they joined Scentsy, and their why can change all the time, and that's fine. That means they're evolving and growing, but make sure you get them to try to hone in on some sort of why from the beginning, so they have that focus, that drive of why they're doing what they're doing. And then finally, how can you support them? As leaders, we're not going to have all the answers. We're not going to know how each person functions. We don't know what makes them tick. That's why we have to ask them, how can we support you? And this is something that kind of goes back into creating the welcoming environment, touching base with them down the road every few months. Hey, what's changed? What hasn't? What do you need now? Do you want us to continue with what we were doing before? Ask these questions, because it's going to build trust, and it's going to build a bond between you and your teammate. Like I said, no matter how far they are down the line, they are the foundation of your teams. So finding out how you can best support them is crucial. It's just as crucial. Well, all of them are crucial, but it's just as crucial as helping them find their why. But you're offering yourself to them to support them however they need you to. And you want to ask those questions, because like I said, every person thinks and does things differently. So not everyone's going to tick the same way. So you want to make sure, and you want to jot this all down. And I used to have, I don't know if I still do, and if I don't, I'll make another one up and I'll share it in Kari's group. But I had a document that I made, or maybe it was my old director. We made it on Google back in 2020 that had these questions listed and then what the responses were. So that way, if we grew fast, if we kind of forgot what Jess's goal was, we can resort back to that and say, you know, if we had a one-on-one meeting with them, say, hey, this is how you said we could best support you then. Has that changed? Are there, you know, different things now that we can do? So you're keeping that line of communication going, which is so important. Having an open line of communication. And remember, being a mentor does not always mean you're coaching. You have to listen. And practicing active listening is so crucial in any part of life, in relationships, as parents, as children, as friends, as siblings. Learning how to actively listen and listen to respond and not react. And that's human nature, but that is something that I learned in therapy, and it works because I've been putting it into practice. But don't get down on yourself if the person that you're working with isn't succeeding right away, because we can coach them and mentor them as much as possible, but it's got to click for them too. So you're not doing anything wrong.
Can I add, Kari?
Yeah.
You also don't have to be a hand holder.
Oh, yeah.
We found that out the hard way. We were doing like a heck of a lot for our group right after like it kind of exploded, and we were doing all of these like this is what we do to help you out, and we were putting so much time into like showing other people what we were doing that we were taking away from ourselves for what we should have been doing for ourselves. You don't have to be a hand holder. You know, you can delegate your time to your team, obviously, but you don't have to, like, you shouldn't be expected to make flyers for them or to like go to their house and help them make samples and stuff like that. Like, they have to understand too that this is their business to do what they want to do with it. It's not just, you know, yes, you're supposed to be there for support, but like, you don't have to be a 100% hand holder. If that makes sense. We failed on that.
Learned that the hard way. We really learned that the hard way. And it was really hard to keep up with. We made we called it the mock group. And we made flyers for we did like 3 or 4 flyers a day for months at a time. And it was like awesome, like maybe 5, 6 other people doing it for a team of almost 80 at the time. Exhausting, but also they weren't really learning either. You got to push them out of their comfort zone for them to learn. And Jess brings up an amazing point. You really can't handhold. You can guide and you can mentor, you can coach, but you can't handhold, because your little birdies are going to have to learn how to fly on their own. And we can teach and we can show our teams how to like create replicatable actions, but everyone's going to run their businesses differently, and that's okay. But you don't want them to depend on you for every little thing. And I was like, I'm so glad you brought that up. But to piggyback off of like the mentoring and not always being the coach, but just being there to listen to them, have them write their goals down and put it on a dream board. Kari did it before. I made a dream board a long time ago, but my laptop broke, so I don't have it. But of a few things that you want either within the next 6 months, within the next year, within the next 5 years. I had a house, an expedition, which was insane because gas is so crazy right now. So I'm glad that part didn't happen yet, but we got the house. We worked and I figured out how to make it happen. And we bought our first house last October. So to be able to check something off of my dream board was wild, especially because my dream, like my house, the house in general, and my dream board, didn't think was going to happen right away. And I went through a lot of things at the beginning of last year, some serious mental health stuff, some heavy stuff. And I made the decision that the house was going to be the first thing that checked off the list because it was life or death for me, to put it bluntly. So your teammates could have something similar that could be a lifeline to them, that if they don't achieve it, like, I'm not saying super drastic, but for me, my situation was pretty bad, but having them build a dream board and being able to visualize and see what they want, and it can be in whatever time frame, but helping them visualize it so they can stay on track and remind themselves, this is why I'm doing this through the hard times, and then celebrating with them in the good times when they get those promotions, get those crazy huge paychecks that they never thought they were ever going to get. Earning incentives, earning trips. I earned Disney, but I took the cash out because I wanted that house, and I knew that house was going to be what helped save me from myself. And being able to check that off was really rad. Income disclosure, by the way, insert income disclosure. So it's important to have these conversations and build those connections, because you never know what that other person's going through or what they need without communicating. And communication is key to this business. It's key to life, personally, in my opinion. The next topic is recognition. They have it as recognition roulette. I don't even know if we really touched on that very much because I don't have a lot of notes, but I try to be my best when it comes to recognition. I learned by communicating with my team that postcards and mailers didn't feel as authentic to them as me tagging them in a Facebook post and putting in a really cool, little blurb on there, like, say we had a promotion and somebody's been working really hard to hit lead or star, superstar, or director. Celebrating every win that they have. I usually do them just for, top 10 PRV for the month. But celebrating all of the wins that they have. Like, some people make 200 PRV their goal every month, and that's amazing because they're keeping that active consistency and they're being consistent in general, but that's going to build up over time. You want to celebrate those wins. Personal goals. If somebody wanted to sign up 3 people and they were able to sign up those 3 people, or even just 1 or 2, it's still a win in their book because they're building their team and they're sharing the opportunity with somebody new that this could be life-changing for them. That's a small win. That's worth really shouting people out about for. One thing that I would like to personally do myself is send video messages for, can everyone turn your camera on? Yeah, we can do that at the end if you want, Shelly. We can do a picture if you want. I think that'd be really fun. But I personally want to do video messages. I want to send whether it's a text message or a Facebook chat. Facebook might be faster and easier to do it just because everything's just all there. But sending video messages and just spreading the love, even if it's a message about something that they were going through outside of Scentsy. Say somebody's child had like their baseball team won a tournament or something. It all circles back to building that connection and creating a welcoming environment. And you guys see the little circle that's starting to connect a little bit. Even if there isn't a true reason, if you just want to check in with them and say, hey, I've been thinking about you, wanted to check in and see how you're doing, and it doesn't even have to be Scentsy related. Just showing that you care and that you want to know how they're doing and being personable is going to go so far. I know some people get really shy with the camera and stuff, and that's totally fine. This is just something that I wrote down at SFR that I personally wanted to do, because I feel like video messages do have a big impact. And I love getting them when I have somebody looking at their camera, taking time to say, Kari, you are killing it this month. I know you had a rough couple months. I know it's been a rough time, but you were slaying it. And I may not even hit 500 PRV yet, but that is the juice to help motivate them and help boost their confidence and make them feel like they're worthy. And that is something that I always take away with any type of Scentsy training or anybody I talk to, is just making sure that every single person you meet feels worthy, because everybody is worthy of this. They're so worthy of everything that they want, anything that they dream of, and reminding your teams, your friends, your spouse, whoever, that they're worthy is life-changing. So I encourage you to find a way to recognize people on your team. Start small, just do the top 10. Or if you have a small team and you only got a few people, shout them out anyway. If you got 3 people under you, you got 2 people, you got 1 person under you. Shout them out. Let the world know on your Facebook or whatever, and make sure you have your IDS on there. But shout it out. Tell them how they were killing it with posting or whatever their PRV was. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's journey changes. Everybody's journey has a different speed. Shout them out. Recognize them for everything they're doing, because they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to sign up under you. Whatever their reasons are, remind them of it and tell them how worthy they are of it. The next one, I called it, well, I think it's the same thing in the book, finding your village. Finding your village is crucial. And what Scentsy means by this, and same as me, what I mean by this too, is find people from other teams that aren't even in your immediate superstar directors like tree or under their umbrella. Find a completely different team. Get to know some people, connect, network. This is network marketing. It's attraction marketing. It's direct sales. That's the bread and butter of the business. But you're not going to learn everything under the sun if you don't branch out and reach out. So on the back of the book, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has name, phone number, email, and notes. They wanted us to meet some new people.
Kari, it was
What?
blurred out your background.
Oh, okay. Well, it says name, phone number, email, and notes.
I've got mine up.
Yeah. We were supposed to meet new people in that meeting, but we didn't get to that point because she wasn't really sticking with the book. But meet different people from different teams, because you are going to learn a wealth of information from every single person that you meet. you are going to learn something different about Scentsy, different systems, different ways of reaching out to people, different ways of recognizing your team, different organization things. There's a wealth of knowledge out there. Branch out, meet new people. I
Can I
don't
chime in?
care. Yeah.
Okay, so like one of the biggest things I took from SFR is, unlike I was in a different MLM like in my early 20s, which was like over 10 years ago, but we won't talk about that. But it was very clicky, and it wasn't a lot of, it was more, you do this, you do that, you'll get here, you'll have financial freedom. That's all it was. Financial freedom, financial freedom. And it wasn't anybody that actually wanted to take the time to sit down and help you and talk to you like you were a human being. There is not one person that I met at SFR that wasn't like, oh my God, I love you, give me a hug. Like, everybody in SFR was so, like, I took pictures with people I don't even know their names. It's okay. I'm finding them slowly on Facebook. It's true. But like, Kari and I we did a live video on our Facebook group, and we had people randomly like coming up to us and sitting with us, sitting on our laps, kissing our
And
cheeks.
saying hi to everybody in our
It was
team.
like, Scentsy is like none other when it comes to camaraderie. Like, they make your bucket feel so full. There is not one person in Scentsy that I've met that's like, nope, you can't do that because I did that. Nope, I did that, so that's not a good idea for you because that was my idea. Like, this is such a welcoming place to be. It's incredible. That's all.
Can I bounce off of that?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
So I just recently joined about maybe 3 months ago. Kari's my top director and Shelly is my director, and I have never felt more welcomed into doing something my 23 years of being on this planet.
Aww.
And I'm slowly but surely like getting there, and going off what you said of like everybody helping each other and finding your village. If it wasn't for Shelly and Christian, who's her daughter, I love her to death, and Kari, and like the little boosters that they'll put on like shout outs and stuff like that, things to show like, hey, this person can do it, so can you. Here's how we can help you get to it. It's really, really uplifting, and I really, really appreciate all of that.
Oh, and I think that's what drew me in too. Like, I knew Matt, and I didn't really know Tony, but I knew Matt since we were like teenagers. But then when I joined, I met so many people that just cared about me that didn't even really know me. And anywhere else, any other job I've had or company I was with, I never felt that. It was just go, 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 sell, 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 do this, do this, do this, like, do what I do, mass message people, like no. Scentsy is incredible, absolutely incredible, and you can find your tribe and your village literally out of the entire company in whatever country. You can find somebody or a group of people that are just gonna love you. And I can promise you at SFR, if you're not a hugger, you're gonna have to wear a shirt that says I'm not a hugger, because they're gonna hug you.
I feel
they don't
more
care
love.
who you are, they're gonna hug you.
I feel more love and support joining Scentsy than I did working in the 2.5 years I worked at Chick-fil-A.
Oh, see, that's good. And you're 3 months, like, that's the stuff that keeps us going as leaders, and us going just as consultants, is just making these friendships and meeting people that didn't realize that they were lacking this type of relationship and this type of friendship in their life. And Scentsy has saved my butt in more ways than one. And I haven't ever really, like, I'm thinking about really telling my story of what I went through last year. But that's gonna ruffle some feathers too if the wrong people like my mom and dad find it. But it's important to share our stories, because so many people, Jess, sorry, I just got really excited. It's important to share your story and resonate with anyone or it's important to share your story because you don't know who you're going to resonate with or who's going to take something from your story and realize, oh my gosh, I'm in the same boat. I can do this too. I was super, super, super depressed, suicidal last after the incentive for Disney ended, January, February, and March. I had a plan. I didn't have the balls to do it, but I had a plan. And anytime I wanted to do it, I'd pick my kids up and hold them because they were literally the only things that could get me off the ledge. And that's part of the reason why we decided to move. Well, I said I was moving regardless, and my husband, you come if you want, but I'm going because I chose my life and my boys and this family of incredible humans over ending mine. So that's the first time I've said that out loud. But I really wanted to drive that message home because the feeling of community and just having a place to rest your head, even if it's virtually, because we're still all super virtual right now. Having a place to call home is important, and not everybody can call their home or has a place that they can call home. And my goal, yes, I'd love to be a superstar director, but my goal is just to make sure people don't feel alone and that no matter what you're going through, you can get through it. And I think that's why I feel really passionate about this topic, because it's more than just team building. It's literally building a family, an extended family. But it's very, very important to reach out to other people outside of your immediate circle. I call it an umbrella because that's the only way I can really picture it when I explain it to people. Like Kari is our umbrella, and all of us are kind of like under her, right? Find some other umbrellas to meet new people with. It doesn't hurt. Everybody, even if they look like they're scary and have RBF really bad, 9 times out of 10, they'll talk to you. I don't think I've ever met anybody that I've been intimidated to speak to be intimidating when I talk to them. I get, what's the imposter syndrome? I don't know if that's what I'm thinking of, but I get really nervous with some people, especially other superstar directors and other star directors. I'm like, woo, royalty, like celebrities. I get shy and I get nervous, but when you meet them, they were just like you. And they have a wealth of information that's going to help you get to where they are. So it's very, very important to expand your circle because they'll be able to help you when you need it, if your team needs it. And that's what makes Sensi a family. The last topic is consistency calendar. And ultimately, what that means is you get a calendar and once you find your systems, whether it's doing a project broadcast to send like a text to your team each week or a text to your customers, like when we have Thursday announcements, find a system and stick with it, unless it's Amy and then it gets pulled out from under you. But find a system and stick with it, and then get a calendar and write down each day what you can do with your systems. It doesn't have to be an 8-hour thing each day. Like I said, some people only have an hour to devote to it, but put it in a calendar because consistency is what gets you further. It's what keeps you going. Consistency is, whether it's PRV or maintaining your team and just keeping that open line of communication, consistency is what keeps the world going. And it's very important to stick with it because when I was going through what I was going through, I fell off track with recognition. I fell off track with those birthday posts. I stopped sending out the those giant packets. I might as well have just sent boxes out at that point. I got overwhelmed and I got really stressed out because I was doing all the things that I saw people doing and what I thought worked. And it didn't really work for me. So give yourself grace and give yourself time to find those systems that do work for you. KISS. Keep it super simple. And the rest will fall into place. But
Can I piggy again?
Yeah.
So another thing that I think super good, and Kari and I both do this for each other, is, and this doesn't have to be, Kari is my director, but that does not mean that it has to be somebody on your team. Find somebody to keep you honest. Find somebody to keep you consistent. I will literally text Kari at 9:30 at night and I'm like, listen, I came home from work. I didn't feel like making dinner, so I ordered pizza. I've been sitting on the couch, binge watching whatever, and I have no motivation to do it. And as soon as I say it to her in a text message, we don't even have to have a phone conversation. I'm like, okay, Jess, you're being a jerk. Take the time, do something, even if it is one small task to do with Scentsy. And then I'm like, okay, Kari, guess what? I made all my envelopes out for the next month. Haha, done. That's one thing that got me closer. And that's one thing that I can cross off the list to say, okay, I'm ready to go when those samples come in and I can make them and I can get those sent out. Like, and it does not have to be something huge. It does not have to even necessarily be somebody even in Scentsy. It can be your best friend that you talk to every day. Yo, listen, this is what happened to me today. I have no motivation. What do you think I should do? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, what makes you feel better, or what's going to make you feel like you can rest your head tonight and actually sleep and not have super bad anxiety like I do and can't sleep because of things not getting done.
Yeah, she gets bad anxiety.
Really bad. Like, I will sleep 2 hours a night because I like can't stop thinking. It's bad. But like, find that one person that will hold you honest and will keep you accountable. Don't get me wrong. We all take, I mean, I shouldn't say all of this. Some days I'm just like, you know what? I work for an accountant. I work with numbers all day. Some days I come home and I'm like, my brain is literally a pile of mush.
Yep.
I don't even know if I can do one thing. I do one thing and then I'm like, okay, how am I feeling? Okay, I'm going to do something else. And then that just rolls off and like we all have a busy life, right? It doesn't matter what you do in your life. We all have something going on, whether it's with our families or maybe with your parents or something inside of you, like anxiety, depression. You know, it could be anything, but you just have to burst yourself out just at this much. And if it takes one other person to help you burst out this much to hold you accountable, then go for it. You don't have anything to lose.
Yep, because that's what helps build consistency, is fighting through those hard times when you don't want to. And even if it's just a little bit, that little bit is what's going to keep that consistency consistent, for lack of a better word, I guess. She gets on my butt because I'm notorious. She'll be like, I did this, and this, and I'll be like, I did nothing. This is my plan. I'm procrastinator Polly. Like, you can ask Shelly today. Like, I busted that Google Drive doc for you guys, like probably an hour before, maybe even like a half hour before I even got logged onto this. Partly because I had a really crazy day with work. My system's been completely chaotic, but procrastinator Polly still got it done. And I'm proud of that because I'm hoping that what I created will help you guys at least jot it down and write it down so you can build your consistency calendar. And it doesn't have to be a lot, you guys. It can simply just be every Friday. I'm going to try to have 5 joint conversations by Sunday night. And if you can do that every week, The next month, add something else on. Say, you know what, I'm going to create welcome paper letters or handwrite welcome cards. Y'all, I put a cart together today of like, it's like my Happy Meal cart. And I found so many welcome cards and so many birthday cards. And I'm like, I'm gonna start sending these out to everybody when it comes with their birthday. Screw those Facebook posts. I'm gonna send them a card because who likes getting bills in the mail? I don't. And I know my team thrives off that personalization. And you know what? I got all these cards, put them to use. They're just sitting there. And I literally haven't had them sit there for like 3 years because some of these cards had my engagement. I have some engagement cards that have me and my husband on it saying thank you from, I think, our bridal shower. And that was like forever ago. So I'm going to put those to use. Add that to my calendar. I'm going to say, you know what? Every 5th day of the month, I'm going to go in. I'm going to check and see what next month's birthdays are coming up. And I'm going to put those cards together.
I'm going to
once a
piggy
month.
again. Ready?
Yeah.
So here's the thing too, guys. Take little nuggets of knowledge from everything, but you have to remember you're not going to be able to implement every single thing right from the get-go. Because if you try to do everything, you are 9 times out of 10 going to fail because you're going to be overwhelmed. Take one thing, and Kari said it best. Take one thing, say, okay, on Fridays, I am going to do this. And every Friday, this is the one thing I'm going to do on Fridays. And then once you feel like that is something that you have under your belt, you don't have to think about it. It automatically becomes like habitual, like, oh crap, Friday, right, I got to do this. Then add something else.
Yep.
I constantly have a running notebook of 50,000 things that I want to implement into my business, but I have to focus on one of those things at a time. And then once I get that one thing, I'm like, all right, that one thing, I've got that. I know consistently every month I'm going to do that, or every week I'm going to do that. And then I add another nugget on.
Yep. That's
You
how
don't
my
want to
brain
get
works.
overwhelmed. You don't want to get overwhelmed.
I got overwhelmed, and I think that's part of why I got so depressed, was because I felt like I was like sinking and I was letting everybody down because I care about my team so much because they're friends and family to me. I felt like I was letting everybody down because I overwhelmed myself with all the stuff I didn't have to do. But I'm a giver. My love language, I love gifting people. I love giving things to people because I didn't have a lot of that when I was growing up. I got spoiled per se by family, but I didn't have the emotion behind it. It was just stuff. And I wanted to give everybody the emotional. I am so glad you signed up. I am so glad you're on your team. But it got to be a lot. And you just gotta kiss. Keep it super simple. That's what I got. I'm gonna stop the recording really quick.